What's up, guys? Danny here from the Lassercast, and if it's Tuesday night, we're here talking about Chucky, and it's a big one. It's the season finale, and big news dropped earlier today in regards to Chucky. A couple big pieces of news. Number one, if you haven't seen any of the 7 episodes leading up to this finale, big news, because in about a half hour, it'll be December 1st, and they are all dropping on the Peacock streaming service. So you can go back and catch up on the entire first season. And I use the word first season because the other big piece of news is that Chucky is renewed for season 2 coming in 2022. Something to look forward to. Somehow it is already almost December of 2021. We got to get out of this shit year. The Lassercast has a lot of fun things coming up for you this December. We're going to be covering holiday horror. We're going to be covering some Shudder exclusives. And we're going to go back into my favorite decade of horror, the 70s, and we're going to do some classic reviews as well. I also found out a crazy piece of trivia that I should have known because the actresses look so much alike, but Lexy, Olivia Allen Lind on Chucky, is the younger sister of Emily Allen Lind, who was Snakebite Andy in Dr. Sleep, one of my favorite horror films of the last few years, directed, of course, by Mike Flanagan, who we openly stan on this channel. Let's get into Chucky, season 1, episode 8, the finale of the season, and thank goodness we're getting a second one. Like the video, subscribe to our channel. We're so close to 350 subscribers. It would be really cool to get there. So this episode, we have the convergence now of the legacy characters, Andy, Kyle, Nika, Tiffany. They're all coming together with the crew of new characters. And basically, this episode starts with Andy knocking on Junior's door. Junior, who in the last episode has killed his father, Logan, played by Devon Sawa. He's basically joined the cult of Chucky along with Tiffany and Nika. And there's this really tense situation where Andy is looking for Chucky, with Junior kind of, trying to hide the fact that he's involved. At the same time, Kyle shows up to where Jake and Lexy are, and she basically drugs them both to knock them out because she's trying to look out for them and save them. And the only way she could think of to do that is to drug them. I think she spikes their coffee, and they go right out. This episode is basically the story of the unstable relationship of Chucky and Tiffany, because you have Jennifer Tilly is basically just freaking out the whole episode. She's going from loving Chucky to hating Chucky. Both Chucky and Tiffany are threatening to kill each other. At one point, Chucky says, "I'm going to kill you for the 4th time, whether in human or in doll form," because if you've been following this franchise, obviously, Tiffany was a character played by Jennifer Tilly, but she was a character who then, her body ended up in the doll. The doll then transferred her soul to the actress, breaking the 4th wall, Jennifer Tilly, and that's why Jennifer Tilly is the actual character here. There's so much of that in this show and in this franchise where if you think about it too much, it kind of makes your brain hurt, but at the same time, because it's been Don Mancini the whole time, there's actually a steady line of logic that you could follow, which makes this franchise so freaking great, and I love it. I have a Christmas tree right here, and my cats are just going to town on the ornaments. If you love Christmas trees, cats and Christmas trees do not mix. We also get the reveal that Tiffany actually called the police, specifically name-dropping Detective Norris, who's Chris Sarandon in the original Child's Play, to get him to go after the Lakeshore Strangler, and that's how Chucky Charles Lee Ray got shot and killed before he transferred his soul into the doll. Kyle and Andy look like they've gotten taken out in an explosion set up by Tiffany, who name drops Glenda, even using the proper pronouns, calling they, which, again, this is a clear just continuation of the logic of the show, of the franchise, going back to Seed of Chucky. There was one line in this episode where Jake refers to Chucky as Teddy Ruxpin, just Teddy Ruxpin with a knife. That is such a great line for people of my age, because I owned Teddy Ruxpin, and I was trying to explain to Charlotte one of the times, I think we were watching the Behind the Monsters episode on Shudder about Chucky, and I was trying to explain to her about having a Teddy Ruxpin doll. So to have Teddy Ruxpin get name dropped in 2021 when I'm almost 40 and I had a Teddy Ruxpin doll is a really cool little thing. The big climax of this episode, so the grand plan is they have collected, this is Chucky and Tiffany, they've collected all of these Chucky dolls, good guy dolls, and they are sending them across the country as part of like a hospital charity giveaway to sick kids. So they're going to spread Chucky dolls all over the country, and they've all been possessed by Chucky, and they're all like an army of Chuckies because he got Junior to kill his father, which empowered Chucky. I referred to Chucky basically as like Voldemort, because he like Horcruxes his soul into all of these different dolls and Nika, and it's just so crazy, and I love it. The music in this episode was so good too. I want to just say that I looked on IMDb for a music credit for this episode, and they didn't have one. But damn, the music in this episode, there's one moment where where Chucky tells Junior to kill Nika, and the music that they play in that scene, whew, so good. Lexy's mom, who, another, like, brain explosion, whole season I'm going, wow, they look really similar. Like, the casting here is great. It's her actual mother. Yes, it's her actual mother. I should have realized that. That's just me not just like, oh, they look alike. They're related. Genius. Good job. The mayor, Lexy's mom, she is having this huge fundraiser with Jennifer Tilly there, and they're showing the original Frankenstein, James Whale's Frankenstein, and it's here where Chucky goes on his big rampage, and really nasty to even think about it. He's basically crawling around under the movie theater, stabbing up through seats, and people are bleeding out from underneath. Some of the victims here include Lexy's dad, which she now joins the Dead Parent Club with Jake and Junior and Devin. There's great moments between Devin and Jake here where they, reunite. Jake thinks that Devin died in the explosion. I don't know if I mentioned that. There was an explosion at Charles Lee Ray's house that killed, we're led to believe, because of a newspaper headline that says fatalities, that Kyle and Andy and Devin all died. We find out very quickly that Devin is alive. He reunites with Jake in a very nice moment. We find out later Andy survived. We do not ever get to see Kyle again. So Christine Elise, season 2, I don't know. She might have died. Chucky does, at the very end of this episode, my daughter and I are big fans of the Dead Meat channel and Dead Meat James A. Janice. Well, Chucky helps him out big time at the very end of this episode by kill counting the entire first season, even mentioning how the victims died, which I thought was really funny, really hilarious, that they would do that at the end of the season. But, so we're in this movie theater. Junior and one Chucky doll are going after Lexy. This leads to Lexy kind of winning back Junior to the good side. Junior ends up fighting with Chucky and getting stabbed to death. So Junior is dead. On the other side of the screen, literally on the other side of the screen, you have Jake fighting Chucky in the theater, which is just filled with victims who've been stabbed up under the seat. And he squeezes Chucky's throat to the point where the Chucky doll's eyes pop out. There's some the gore is, it's hard to believe this isn't a pay cable show. That this show isn't on like an HBO Max or a Showtime or a Stars or something. That it's on USA and the Sci-Fi Channel, and you have this just gnarly gore where one Chucky doll gets its head slowly cut off and blood is oozing. And I know they're dolls, but watching like a doll's eyes bulge out, like humanoid eyes bulge out, is sick. It's gross to watch, and it makes it freaking awesome. The Chucky dolls are killed. You think, the truck is going to at least get away. And Tiffany kind of like laughingly gets into her car thinking, this is it. The Chucky dolls are going to go. But Andy is alive, scarred but alive. He takes hold of the truck. But he's surprised by the Tiffany doll, who is also in the truck, has him at gunpoint. So we don't know where that is going. And then we also, in one of the final things that we see, aside from the three surviving main characters of Jake, Devin, and Lexy at the cemetery mourning the loss of their friends and loved ones, is we see Tiffany, the human Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly. Nico wakes up and she's in the chair and you just see her face. And Tiffany's like, I want to make sure that if you become possessed by Chucky again, you won't be able to get me. And my brain started to go, okay, because paralyzed Nico was able to walk as Chucky. My first thought is, she cut her legs off. And the camera's going to pan back, and she's not going to have any legs. Nope. They went even further. They cut her arms and legs off, and Nika is left boxing Helena style at the end of this episode as Tiffany laughs. And, this was just everything I wanted from a Chucky series. It was 8 great episodes filled with the typically great horror comedy that you get from the Child's Play franchise, from Chucky. And what this franchise has over every other horror franchise out there is the continuity. The continuity in the acting, in the writing, in the main brain trust is there. It's Don Mancini, it's Brad, it's Fiona Dourif, it's Jennifer Tilly, it's Andy Barclay, it's Alex Vincent and Christina Elise. These are people who have been with this franchise since I was 6 years old, and I'm almost 40. So they love it. It's their baby. And they have taken care of it, and they've molded this, and they've remodeled it, and they've reshaped it over time and over the decades. And it is so accessible. Like, I think I mentioned this last week. This series, if you did not watch a single movie in the Child's Play franchise, if you somehow lived under a rock and never heard of Chucky, and you just saw a preview for Chucky, and you were like, whoa, a show about a killer doll, this looks fun, you can get right into this series. But if you are a Child's Play franchise fan, then this is just, it's just perfect. It really does. It feels like a continuation of the franchise. I didn't think a horror show could do it better than Ash vs. Evil Dead. Now, I want to preface this in full disclosure. I love Ash vs. Evil Dead. And it's probably one of my favorite shows that's ever been on TV. I just finished a Season 2 rewatch with Charlotte, and we're going to have a review of Season 2 coming up very soon. But this show carries the franchise lore somehow. Those two shows managed, and those two franchises, to me, are elevated above even the three big ones, the Halloween, the Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. The Evil Dead, and specifically here, the Child's Play franchise, to me, because they were able to have that continuity and to carry over into these shows where, Ash vs. Evil Dead had 3 seasons. This Chucky show, I think it has legs, and I think it could go for a while. This episode was a pretty damn good conclusion to a great first season. I'm so excited it got renewed for Season 2. And now that the new characters, the Jakes, the Lexys, the Devons, now that they are established with a full season under their belt, they come back in Season 2, and we don't have to rely so much on, it's Andy Barclay and Kyle from the first 2 movies, or, Nika's back from Curse and Cult of Chucky. It's super cool. It's great to have those legacy characters. But I love that this show has built a young nucleus. It's almost like watching your favorite sports franchise. You have the established veterans in the leadership roles, but you have to bring up the young rookies to carry the team for the future. Well, Zachary Arthur, Olivia Allen Lind, they're going to carry this show in Season 2. And I can't wait to see Bjornvin Aronson is the actor who plays Devin. They're going to carry this franchise. And I'm super excited to see where it goes. Guys, tomorrow, probably by the time this video goes up, it'll be after midnight. It'll be December 1st. The entire Chucky TV show will be, all 8 episodes will be up on Peacock Premium. Will be up on the Peacock streaming app. So if you have Peacock, go watch the series. Tell me what you think of it. It's coming back for Season 2. We have a ton of cool stuff coming up for you in December. I mentioned Charlotte and I are going to be doing an Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2 recap. Pete and I are going to be getting into some classic 70s horror. We're going to be looking at some more holiday horror films, obviously. Super excited with my horror movie club at the school that I work at. We are watching Gremlins on Thursday, getting into the spirit of holiday horror. So this has been Danny from the Lacercast. Go check out Chucky on Peacock. Tell me what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in December on the Lacercast.